Alright, then the cassava them don't peel. So you need to get every part of the peel and the pink part off of the cassava. It should look like this. I'm gonna go wash these and come back. You're going to need a bowl of water. I cut down my cassava first. Cut all the cassava. Take your knife and remove the inner vein in the cassava. You don't want that. If you don't remove it, it's gonna be really hard to grate. And if it do make its way into your bammy mixture, it's going to be stringy. And I'm sure nobody know I eat a stringy bammy. So just take out that piece there. And I'm going to give this one final rinse. Whenever you grate cassava, it should have some slight wetness to it. So you should be able to bring it together. If for whatever reason you are using cassava and it's dried, you need to throw it away. That's what I was told. You're going to need a clean kitchen towel or a cheesecloth. Something that is fine, but not a strainer. Add some of the cassava into the cheesecloth. You want to get as much of the starch out of the cassava. And you want to start breaking up the cassava. You want to make sure your cassava is like fully separated. No lumps, no nothing. This is the cassava once I've separated it. I'm adding a little bit of salt just for flavor. One of my secrets to making cassava is adding the starch water back into the cassava. The liquid is going to start separating from the starch. This right here is cassava starch. And this right here is the liquid. And I'm just going to mix this to bring it back together. Most people don't add the starch water back into the cassava. They would use flour mixture, which is not really bammy if you use flour mixture. It's best to use the starch water because it brings back a lot more flavor into the bammy itself. And not only that, being that the starch water already came from the cassava, it's going to be a much greater binding agent for the cassava to make the bammy. And I'm just going to work the starch water into my cassava mixture little by little until I get somewhat of a slight wet consistency. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to be shaping my bammy in 2 sizes. So you want your pan to be really hot, but not to the point where it's smoking too much. You want it just enough to get a little color. You're not frying it and you're not cooking it just yet. So in this process, even though there's a little bit of oil that's surfaced on the top of the pan, you're creating a direct dry heat, and that is what you want. Each time you do your bammy, you want to coat the pan again. This will help prevent your bammy from sticking. If you do full coconut milk, the coconut milk is going to be too thick. So when you take your bammy out of the soaking process, it's going to have nothing but coconut milk on it. And it's not going to soak properly into your bammy. And soak for 30 minutes. So this is the finished product. It is a process to make bammy. So if you want to make homemade bammy, this is how you make it. Pretty much serve it up with anything and it is good to go. Let's cut one. If you don't fry all the bammy at once, it will last in the freezer for about 3 to 6 months.